Hello, I'm Kristen from the Neverending TBR in Kristen's Corner. I don't have a video planned for today, but all of my books are currently going on to bingo boards, so this is my first DNF of the month, I believe. I originally bought this when I was doing the passport thing for the summer with B, and I got it for when we ended up in Canada, because this is a little island off of Prince Edward Island. And it just, I was still in a spooky mood because I think I had just gotten out of the Thrills and Chills month. So what the book is about is the Scoutmaster is bringing his scouts to this island. They do it every year. The Scoutmaster himself is the only doctor in the town that they're from, and they go to this island every year and they do their wilderness badges, and they try and earn badges, and they do ghost stories and everything, and it's for a weekend and then they go home. But this time there's the stranger that comes, and he's really, really sick. And everything in the doctor is saying, I need to just let this guy be, and I have to take care of the kids, which they're all teenagers. But that little voice in his head is like, but you took a Hippocratic oath, and you have to take care of, he's now your patient. So he ends up taking care of this guy, and this guy has this parasite in him. Nobody knows about it. And then you start getting like flashbacks for backstory of what is inside this guy. And I don't want to ruin it too much in case my problem isn't your problem. Like, my yuck is okay in your book. But anyway, I didn't really I didn't like the gore because it was gross. Like, it was graphic. The way that the parasite is described, why it was created, was a scientist was asked by a pharmaceutical company to come up with a fat eating pill. So his idea was to make a worm that would, make you skinny, and then when you got to wherever you wanted to go, you would take antibiotics and you would flush the parasite out. The problem is that the parasite evolved and became self-aware. So if it knew its host was dying, it figured out a way to get out of the host and into somebody else. It was graphic. So the doctor gets infected. He doesn't make it, but not because of the parasite, because there's a storm. And then the kids are kind of like Lord of the Flies on their own, because by this time the government has figured out that this guy had gotten out of the facility, and he had the parasite, and they're trying to close down all the areas that he's touched to make sure nobody else got infected. So they have like drones and stuff checking in on the kids, but nobody's come on land to take them out. And I got to the part where the kids started getting sick, and it hadn't gotten too graphic yet, and they were trying to figure out how to forage too, and out of their wilderness books, could they eat that mushroom, can they eat that algae, things like that. So they're trying to figure it out, because one of the kids that got infected, one of the things that happens when the parasite is in you is that you are super duper hungry, and that you're trying to feed the parasite or feed yourself so that the parasite will live, so you don't die. So one of the kids got a hold of all of their supplies and they ate through it. So they're trying to forage and everything like that. All of that I didn't have a problem with. It was a good story. It was, like I said, it's very graphic, and you have that feeling of isolation when I was listening to it. I was fascinated by the lab scenes and the poor monkey. The poor monkey. But anyway, what bothered me is that in this scout group, because they're not really friends, they've known each other for a very long time because they grew up together, but, they're teens. So you have the nerd, you have, the kid that just gets by, you have the bully, you have the jock, the typical teen, I don't know, character profile, I guess. But one of the kids is a sociopath. And you get a little backstory of each kid and like what they grew up with and, how this is affecting them. And then it also goes into, I couldn't tell if it was like a interview post this event or not. I didn't understand that. But like I was listening to it, so I don't know if there was something that they said that, read like a transcript, because I didn't immersion read. But you get to the kid that's a sociopath, and here's where I had to put it down. It described his desires for, destroying bugs and destroying, different things and causing harm and like being the devil's advocate just to watch people fight. But it got to a scene about a kitten and I couldn't do it. I was like, nope. And I turned it off and I couldn't do it. So my issue is like, I read dark romance where the male main character or the female main character, both, have been sociopaths. They've been serial unalivers. They have that morally gray area. And I have no problem, most of the time, reading their backstory and what made them the way they are and things like that. But I can listen and read true crime because for me, I already know that the person's been caught. Sadly, their victims are, still are unalive or, going through therapy or whatever they're going through. But the person that is the focus of the book is usually caught. And it was like a kid and just those feelings. And there wasn't an adult supervision kind of thing. And it really bothered me. Really bothered me. And I don't know. So I guess my question is like, what's your absolutely do not pass go, book gets closed, no thank you ma'am? Like, what are your things? Like, and then if you've read the book, was I being too much of a baby? Because when I read the reviews, like even the 5-star reviews, there was one 5-star review that said gross. And another one was like, WTF, what did I just read? Like, So, I don't know. And I read fantasy, I read, dark romance with romanticy, so a kraken with frickin' tentacles, but I can't read when children, animals, there's harm, malicious harm, and that person's not going to get caught. I have a very hard time with it. So I don't know. That's what I wanted to talk about. Let me know what you think about it. What book has done that to you? How's your reading month going? And yeah, this went on Pango that night. So I was hoping because I had just finished Sleep Tight, and that was a fantastic book. But yeah, I had a hard time with this one. So that's today's video. Sorry I didn't have more of a concise content idea. No idea what's for next week, but I have a week to figure it out. I hope you're having a great day and a great week. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.